Good morning, everybody. This is Imaginary Dreams with day number 9 for Figuary challenge. We will draw figure drawings if you are just starting new. And today's lesson is about the corners that explain the form. Once again, all full recommendations for anyone watching to go and see the original creators at Love Life Drawing and doing the figure drawing exercises provided by CroquisCafe. And now the people at Love Life Drawing in this lesson tries to explain the ideas of finding more shapes in the figure through its shadows, and Croquis Cafe has provided very good uh, poses with more hard shadows, so we have a lot of highlights and also very dark blacks. And the pose in um, sort of today's poses are quite complicated in perspective form, and we shall take a look at them very soon. So let's just get straight into it. In this first pose, now we're looking at this man. Now we're looking at him upwards. Basically, he's looking down at us. So I started with this one leg, trying to get this motion that it is coming down towards us. While this leg is more on the sideline, it's still not sort of big enough and not long enough. Maybe due to not having enough paper, but there was more paper on the side. I just simply failed to measure the actual length of this leg. I think this pose would have been much better if I'm able to sort of get this foot down right, and it would have sort of shown this nice line going up to him. And here I try to exaggerate a little bit more where the leg is in an angle. So it's an angle and almost he's just looking down with where his foot is pointing to. The next few things, and this is only the first image, kind of failed at doing the shape of the arms, and since the arms is right next to the torso body, there's a lot of sort of various shape. Either the shape of the arm is appearing or it's actually the shape of the torso on the side. And here the hand is obviously going back and then forward once again, and it's all in shadow. As we can see, half of his face over here is in shadow, so we'll have to try to take a look at that in the next few other poses. Now in this pose we still have the same sort of looking up viewpoint, and here he's sort of stretching his arms out right here, very strong harsh lights, and then a little bit more darker shadows on every which way on the sides here. Kind of feel with this time really not having enough page over here, and that the legs were not quite long enough. This one is a little bit better, and sort of this leg is quite okay, if not again still slightly too short. So we'll need to work on that a little bit more. Only the second sketch of the day. Now this next pose is a slightly, ever so slightly improving, slowly but surely. And I wanna just check once again on where everything is at. So yes, it's still not quite there yet with proportions and how everything is. Again, we're looking up, so there is this perspective that we have to take in consideration where everything is sort of going sort of outwards and wider down the bottom compared to up top here. So nothing much to say except for to just be careful of perspective The next part here, it feels like we are now not looking upward compared to the previous ones, but we're still in a low angle. As we can see by the foot here, we're around this angle of the foot instead of eye level up here. We're still looking up to him, and in this case he has quite a lot of shading on this side, and here I try to like take a little bit more time to look at the distance once again from one side of his body compared to the other side that's much more shorter. And here's sort of that line that I try to indicate that this side is much smaller than the other side of the body. But I kind of forgot to give him this nice buttocks, but then allow his leg to just flow down straight. This leg I think could have more strength and stability since he's leaning forward, so his leg over here is taking up most of the weight, and this leg to me still feels quite weak. His arm pose also feels kind of weak, and actually it's going out and then coming back inward itself. It's going out and even outwards to go back inwards once again. Second to the last pose, this one is starting to come together a little bit better. I think we have this nice curve, and I try to accentuate that a little bit more, though I see this very nice sort of two lines, and I think this is still in his rib cage area, so I try to indicate that over here. So I kind of lose this overarching curve by dividing them into two sides. Here, because of his shoulder, we don't see much of the neck since the shin is coming out right here. And I still would need to work on the shading aspect since sort of half of his face is in shadow and the other half is in light. The dynamic of this leg still feels very weak, and then I decided to sort of exaggerate. Even though this leg is straight down, I wanted to make this whole shape as sort of a C curve much more, and exaggerate that pose a little bit more. Is it too much? I think it might just depend on the person viewing, but that's sort of my first intention. And that's all I have to say about that. Not sure if it's right or wrong, just the intention that I had while sketching. And now the last one is a very more relaxed pose. Kind of missed out on the spacing of the image of the paper over there, but everything seems to be fairly in proportion. His head might be a little bit longer than what I have drawn. This leg is certainly much thinner than what I have drawn as well. And then we have this very straight, smooth line, while we have this sort of zigzag on this side. So it's smooth on one side and then more dynamic on the other side. And I try to sort of improve that as well. Since the hand is sort of curving in backwards, as so, the little bit of the pillow is also blocking our view, and so we won't be able to see the bottom part of his hand as much as so. And we have a little bit more on his leg, so it's curving out and then it's curving back in, and we still have this nice calf as a smooth transition. If not, this area over here is slightly too long and also too thin. But here we have a little bit more time to sort of show a little bit of the abs and then sort of the rib cage. And once again, if we draw a straight line here, we can see this side is much sort of smaller or shorter compared to the outer side over here, and the rest of the body that is shown more. So I try to indicate that it's much smaller, and here is much more open. So I would say this is a more successful sketch compared to previous ones. And that will be all for today's journal. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoy, so just watching and trying to study each of the poses after the figure drawing, feel free to subscribe. And with that said, I hope to see you all next time. Good night.